All right, let's talk about the future of work. And I mean the near future. A future where AI isn't just some app on your phone, it's your new teammate. So today, we're going to unpack a really detailed blueprint for how we're supposed to govern this brand new, kind of wild hybrid world. For the longest time, we've kind of seen AI as this clever little helper, right? It drafts an email, it answers a question, but that is changing, and it's changing fast. We are now entering the era of what's called agentic AI. These are systems that don't just sit there and wait for you. Nope. They can actively chase goals, use tools, and make things happen all on their own. Which brings us to the big, big question. What actually happens when your new coworker is an AI? And the answer, the core idea we're digging into today, is this. You can't just manage something like that. Not like you'd manage a person on your team. It's just not going to work. You need a totally new playbook, a really solid set of rules and ways to enforce them. To put it simply, this new kind of worker doesn't just need a manager. It has to be governed. Okay, so where do we even begin with something so huge? Well, you start where the work actually gets done. Right there, at the ground level, inside the teams we're all a part of. So let's check out the first piece of this blueprint. A whole new way of managing a team that's part human, part AI. It's called the, wait for it, Honey Badger Management Framework, or HBMF for short. And it's designed specifically for this new, kind of chaotic world of working with AI. So what's it do? It runs on these super fast 1-week cycles. It gives the AI an actual explicit role on the team. And this is the really cool part. It brings in this fascinating idea called governed competition. Okay, let's look at the rules here, because this is where it gets really interesting. You've got your manager, setting the goals. You've got your specialists, the ones actually doing the work. That's all pretty standard stuff. But look at that role in the middle, the guru. Think of the guru as a neutral referee. Their job is to enforce the rules, make sure everyone feels safe to speak up, and most importantly, keep that governed competition we just talked about from turning into a total mess. This role, honestly, it's the glue that holds the whole thing together. So you might be thinking, hey, this sounds a little bit like Agile or Scrum. And you're right, it definitely builds on those ideas, but it's different. It takes those concepts and really adapts them for this new AI era. So instead of informal leadership, you get the formal, accountable manager and guru. And here's the biggest shift. Instead of just hoping everyone cooperates, it actually builds a system that uses healthy competition to get better results. And in this system, the AI isn't just a tool in the background, it's a real accountable member of the team. All right, so managing the people on the team, that's one piece of the puzzle. But what about the AI? Remember, these things can act on their own. So how in the world do you enforce the rules on a piece of code? Well, for that, you need to build what's called an AI watchdog. And the way this works is it's actually beautiful in its simplicity. So let's say an AI agent wants to do something big, something with real consequences, like, send a payment. Before that payment can go out, bam, the watchdog jumps in and intercepts the request. It then checks that request against a list of pre-approved machine-readable rules. If it's a perfect match, okay, you're good to go. But if not, if there's any question at all, it's denied, flat out, by default. That's called a fail-close design, and it is an absolutely critical safety net. And this right here is exactly why that watchdog is so non-negotiable. The source material uses this brilliant term, you're going to love this, governance hallucinations, right? We've all heard about AIs hallucinating facts, making things up. Well, it turns out they can also hallucinate compliance. The AI will tell you, oh yeah, I followed all the rules, when it absolutely did not. So what's the solution? You just don't trust what the AI says, period. The only thing you trust is the external, unchangeable log from the watchdog. That becomes your one and only source of truth. Okay, so let's recap. We've got a framework for the human AI team. We've got a watchdog for the individual AI agent. We're feeling pretty good, right? But what about the really big systemic risk? What happens when it's not just one AI going off the rails? What if it's every single AI in the entire system failing in the exact same way at the exact same time? That right there is the nightmare scenario. It's called an AI monoculture. Just think about it. If every single bank, every trading firm, every company is using the same one or two big AI models, what happens when a single hidden flaw is found? It triggers a catastrophic chain reaction, a correlated failure across the entire system. A bug in one model suddenly becomes a bug in the entire economy. So how do you even begin to fight something like that? Well, the blueprint proposes a really clever solution, a specific, measurable number called the heterogeneity score, or HS. The easiest way to think about it is like a diversity score for your collection of AIs. It's just one number that tells you, hey, how different are the AI models you're relying on? And if that number gets too low, meaning your AIs are all starting to think alike, it acts like a circuit breaker. It can stop actions cold or force you to bring in extra safety measures.
So what's the score actually measuring? Well, it's not just about whether the AIs give you different final answers. No, it goes way deeper than that. It looks at how they think. Are their internal processes different? It also checks how they react. If you tweak the input just a tiny bit, do they all react in the exact same way? It's really a multi-layered defense against this super dangerous groupthink.
And why is this so critical? Here's the key. The risk from this AI monoculture, it doesn't grow smoothly. It's not a gentle slope. As your AIs get more and more similar, the danger doesn't just creep up bit by bit. Instead, it hits a tipping point, what physicists call a phase transition. The risk of a system-wide failure suddenly jumps from low to catastrophic. It's exactly like water staying liquid at 1 degree and then bam, turning solid into ice at 0. The whole point of the heterogeneous score is to keep us safely away from that freezing point. Okay, let's zoom out and pull all of this together. We've talked about the team structure, the watchdog, the heterogeneity score, all these different pieces. But it turns out there's one single, powerful idea that ties this entire blueprint together. See, when you get right down to it, there are basically two big schools of thought on AI safety. Path number one is all about shaping the AI's internal values. Trying to train it so it wants to be good, helpful, and harmless. But then there's path number two, and this is the path this blueprint is on. It says, forget trying to get inside the AI's head. Instead, let's just constrain what it can do in the real world. This path doesn't rely on trust. It relies on building a system of external verifiable checks and balances that makes it pretty much impossible for the AI to mess up, no matter what it's thinking or what data it was trained on. And really, this whole blueprint we've just walked through, from the guru and the team, to the watchdog on the code, to the score for the whole system, it's a very clear answer to that fundamental question. It's basically saying, look, trying to teach an AI to be good is a noble goal, for sure, but the safest, most reliable way to secure our future is to build systems that make it impossible for it to be bad. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Which path are you willing to bet on?